This is my favorite time.
Start and starting the show. This is literally my favorite time of the week.
Well, according to some of our listeners, there actually is no specific introduction. It just starts, and it's apparently discombobulating to some.
And then last time it just shut off.
Wow.
In the middle of the show.
So that was a weird thing, but we fixed it and I reposted it. But yeah, listen, I have no concept. We have to start making serious money at this so I can actually hire somebody who can like do all the things like edit and do all that stuff. Because I'll be honest with you, I would just rather go out drinking after. I'd rather just post the show, misspell things, post the show, and then go drinking.
You should probably upgrade the Commodore VIC-20 there. Maybe that's part of the problem. That looks like an old computer.
It is really old.
I had a Commodore 64 back in the day.
I had the VIC-20.
Oh, I remember the VIC-20.
Yeah. I only play games. I don't do anything else with it.
I got a new computer. I'm just afraid to hook it up because it took Jack and I
so long
hours
to figure it out.
To figure out how to make this work, and I am absolutely terrified that this is going to break one day or not work, and I don't know how I'm going to get everything to work. 'Cause it's all like a wing and a prayer right now.
Yeah.
It honestly is a wing and a prayer.
So keep using until the show doesn't record one time. That's when you're going to do it.
Oh, man.
It'll be the best. It'll be the best show ever, and then when you go to play back, you'll hear this.
Yeah. Ted, can you believe we got Barack Obama and Donald Trump on at the same time to talk, and it didn't record.
We just invented the cure for cancer. Let's tell you all about it.
Well, you can get impersonators for Trump and Obama to come back for the second show.
Actually, that's a great idea. We should get a Trump and Obama impersonator on the show.
They got to be really good, though.
First of all, I don't even know how to find those guys.
Google.
You can't just Google everything.
Yeah, there's celebrity. There's average people who look like celebrities, so they'll actually go to.
They don't have to look like it. They have to sound like it.
But they sound and look like the celebrity, like an Elvis impersonator. They'll go to parties. They'll go to events, like corporate events. And I think there was like one woman. I think she looks like Megan Fox because I read this the other day on Yahoo News.
Bring her on then.
And then she obviously, she looks very similar to her, or someone who looks like what's her name, the Taylor Swift one.
Bring her on.
Yeah. Yes. We don't care who looks like Travis Kelce. We just want who looks like.
Oh my God! You know what? I've gone 3 weeks now without hearing Travis Kelce, and you ruined it.
Okay, so
you do love Taylor Swift. You sent a weird text to the family the other day. You are obsessed with her, right?
I'm not upset. No, I'm not obsessed with her. She's just super hot, man. And I wanted everybody in my family to know that.
She's a good singer.
Yeah, for no good reason.
Wait, she plays the guitar too, right? So she
writes all her songs.
She can multitask.
Pretty incredible.
She can multitask.
Wait, she plays the guitar too?
I saw like a clip of her on stage somewhere in whatever full body suit she had, and she had a guitar. So I'm assuming she's not lip sync playing the guitar.
I know you hate the full body suit. I know you have a problem with that.
No, I mean, she's tall. She's like 5'10".
Oh no, that was Mark that had a problem with that. Yeah, Mark had.
Don't they have like 20 different costumes for every concert? So you can't just pick out one thing and not like. You know what I mean?
I would have a problem with Mark in a full body suit. That's the thing I'd have a problem with.
You know what we should do at the end of the year if you win or lose, if you're the biggest loser in golf, you should have to play one game with like a body suit
like a unitard or something,
dude. Oh my God!
Or like a Hello Kitty backpack on your.
That's not bad. No,
you should do a show. You should do a show golfing, and then at the end of the show, that's what you guys got to put on the
Dorothy Explorer.
Oh man, you know what? And whatever you do, don't. We're going to tell everybody that Steve is sitting in a different seat, not Mark's seat. So don't say that.
This is freaking me out because this is a different seat than the last time I did the show.
So I was always sitting.
Ted was always sitting here, and you guys used to stare at each other lovingly for like an hour and a half.
Yeah, it got weird.
Is that why you
when Teddy would be like, "Why you keep unbuttoning your pants?" I'm like, "You have to move. You have to move."
And then after a while, you get like the Charles Manson stare, where you just like stare at the guy for like 2 hours without blinking.
So now I get to see that.
No, you know what? I still look at Ted. He just can't. He just doesn't look at me. That's the beauty.
I got a mirror. I do this.
He just does not look at me.
Did you ever see the Curb Your Enthusiasm where Leon like raises his leg and you can see all his junk, and it's a whole episode about that. It's kind of funny.
Oh God, you know what? That's the last show. Yeah. If somehow in some way Ted I end up seeing Ted's junk, this show is over.
I'm not gonna be wearing a kilt here anytime soon.
That's it. You got to wear a kilt to play.
Oh. Yeah, but
biggest loser in golf has to dress like a Scotsman.
Well, my win percentage is like .23 now, so of course I'm the biggest loser as of right now. So how am I going to turn that around?
I don't play better.
Yeah,
I mean, play better.
Not just beat you. I have to beat somebody, right? Whoever's the biggest. It's not just me beating you.
You have to just be the biggest, not be the biggest loser. But right now, Ted.
So I need a victim. that I can beat up on.
I mean, what you want us to find like a little special kid or something that you play?
No, just the guys I'm playing against that are in a slump and just play a lot while they're playing bad and
what?
Pad the stats.
I'll just wait at the bus. I'll wait at the bus stop and be like, "Lady, I need your kid to play golf so Ted can beat somebody."
No, I'll just wait for one of our regulars to start playing bad. Then I'll start teeing off with like an 8-iron or something to keep the ball. Play old man golf, keep it in play.
So speaking of golf, I think listeners want to know, now, didn't you guys just go to Arizona like a couple weeks ago?
Yeah.
And now Mark's in Arizona this week.
Yeah.
Was there some kind of situation? Like
So
you
we
guys
were
didn't invite him, he didn't invite
Coincidence.
you? Or
Coincidence.
No. So
is there a situation? Listeners are worried that you guys are breaking up right now.
Oh, no. So Mark planned his out without kind of consulting Teddy and I when he was going, but he's there with his family.
Okay.
Yeah. And so we were going to go the same week. We were going to be gone this week, but the tickets were like double.
Because spring break, that's why. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it went from like $375
Is it spring
to
training?
like
Because it's spring training
yeah,
out there
spring
too?
training and
For-
everything.
Spring break,
Yeah,
everything.
okay,
Yeah.
So it was like double. It was literally $750 and
No, when we went, it was perfect.
First week in March, spring training just started, but it probably wasn't all full games and stuff.
yeah,
yet.
nobody. I mean,
Nobody cares about that.
No, the
Nobody
weather
gives a
was
shit about that.
spectacular when we went. So I mean, that whatever dates we went on, I would encourage to go back on those same dates, weather permitting.
Yes,
of
Ted,
course.
we will. We absolutely will. All right, I got to do some updates here. Some quick updates. Check this out. Last week, with our buddy Vic Klinko on the show from Hot Shots, United Sauces, over 70,000 people listened to our show.
Really?
Thank you, Vic.
Yeah,
That's
is that
incredible.
insane? Well, I mean, he reposted everything. I mean, it was. He texted me like the day after, and he's like, "Hey, do you mind if I repost it? Do you mind if I post all this and send out a link to the show and everything?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'd be really pissed off if you
Absolutely.
did that."
Yeah, we don't want any publicity. We want to keep this a secret. No, please don't do that.
Yeah, so he did, and man, we've just been getting hits right and left.
So
I mean,
Mark really knew his hot sauce. I was
He was
impressed.
He was very enthusiastic.
He was
oh man, dude,
He
I'm
was-
telling you,
he was an active participant in that conversation.
like, I like hot sauce, but just to put it on some of my stuff. But he really knew all this crap and,
He
the,
makes
and the
well,
peppers,
he
and he makes the
makes
peppers.
his own sauce.
oh yeah, dude. I mean, it was insanity, man.
Some serious shop talk going on
Yeah,
between Mark
and some of those things, man. I tell you, I was coughing. Like we went to the bar, I must have had like 6 beers just to get that. I mean,
Well,
that
when you
Grim
have trouble
Reaper.
talking, you had trouble talking a couple times.
Oh man,
Then that's a problem. When he has trouble talking, something's going on.
You have to stuff something really big in his mouth to make him stop talking.
Yeah, you know
Or
about
something
that.
really
and,
hot.
yeah, and
But
oh, Ted's again. We're talking about Ted's junk. It comes out, it's over.
hot sauce is just, to me, it's like, I like moderately hot. You're
Right.
you're more of a wuss than I am, but
No, that sweet chili sauce. I never
Yeah.
got past that. And I tried a little bit of the hotter one, but the sweet chili sauce, I actually like that sauce. That's a good
yeah,
sauce.
one time, I was in Boston like a long time ago. My kids were young, and I was at one of those hot sauce huts. And I liked hot sauce. My dad had jalapeno peppers all the time. So I'm doing all the, he's giving me all these tasters. I did like 3 or 4. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, I can do that one. He gives me this one that's super, super hot. And so I dip it. He's like, just do a little bit. And I had the tiniest
yeah.
piece. I ate this damn thing. It was so hot. And so I'm with my kids. I was like crying. I had a glass of water. I had ice
I
cream.
think water makes. They were saying water makes it worse. Right?
It was like 15 minutes. I got popsicles from my kids. I'm taking the popsicles from my kids.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
the dumbest thing
Yeah.
I ever did. And ever since then, I'm always like,
Well,
looking at a
it
crooked eye.
could be dangerous. I guess there's this one product. I think they pulled it from the market, but it's called the One Chip Challenge. So it's like one chip in a bag, and I guess it's made with ghost peppers
Yeah,
or
I don't know
Carolina
what it
Reaper.
was.
And so the bet is it's dumb, or the kids usually it's marketed to kids like you eat the chip and then you like don't drink water or you don't drink any liquid for like 30 minutes to see how cool you are. Obviously, it's a terrible idea.
Yeah, but, so I looked that up, and I think that kid was allergic. That's what
probably.
the
That's
problem
all
was.
it
It
is.
wasn't that it was hot.
Yeah.
It's the kid. Like,
Yeah, of course.
Jackson. So I think I might have told the story, but Jackson and his dopey friends, when they were in high school, somebody brought a Carolina Reaper pepper, and there's like 6 of them, and he goes, "Oh, everybody take a piece and eat it." Well, one of the kids is literally allergic to the peppers, so what does he do? He eats it anyway,
Yeah.
and they end up calling an ambulance
Yeah.
to high school
Yeah.
for this. And I was like, hey man, he comes home, I'm like, anything happened? He goes, I'm like, anything happened today? I'm like, okay, what happened? He goes, first of all, this is my favorite. It wasn't my fault. So it was his fault.
Exactly.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess the kid ate it. He had a terrible allergic reaction, could barely fucking breathe, and then
Gave him the EpiPen, and but he was okay. He was okay afterwards, right?
no, he
Probably
died. I'm just kidding. No, he went to the hospital though. I mean, it was pretty weird.
That's scary.
All right, so we got a couple of people. Okay, a couple of people who sent us some stuff. This is Tayel, 49, from Bangalore, India. He runs a company and he interviews a lot of people. And he said, "Don't say this," because we had some the interview question. I think the kid interview. He said, "When you interview, don't do this. Don't say I work too hard. I'm a perfectionist. Don't transfer blame and never say during a question, during an interview, I don't know. So
That's fair.
I think it's a he.
Oh, for like for an interview, like if you go on like a professional job interview.
Yeah, don't do any of those things. Don't say I work too hard. Don't say I'm a perfectionist, because that's just bullshit. I mean, we know you're not. We know you don't care.
Yeah.
And then, this is awesome.
I have no problem-solving skills whatsoever.
So,
And it's all about assigning blame. That's my answer.
That honesty might get you the job, though.
Exactly.
yeah. So this is kind of funny. So I guess last week I said, when we were talking about Lady Bird Lake, where they found all the dead bodies, and Mark asked me.
Supposed drownings, all drownings.
Yeah, Mark asked me how big the lake was, and I believe I said something like it's a normal-sized lake.
What does that mean?
Right?
Could be anything.
Okay, so Carly from Florida, and she said, please remember I'm from Florida. She said, that's the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
Your answer?
Yeah,
Yeah.
normal
How
lake
else
size.
would you describe it, though? It's a lake. You didn't know.
But
You didn't know the answer.
I believe there is no such thing as normal-sized lake.
Yeah.
So.
Because then it would be a reservoir. So you got reservoirs, you got ponds, you got lakes. Here's the bottom line. If the water goes over your head, you can drown, right? It doesn't matter how big or small it is, right?
I think her focus was that there is no such thing as a normal-sized lake.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe normal size where you could see the other side somewhere. You know what I mean? Not like Lake Michigan's a giant lake where it looks like an ocean. That's what I would call it.
Can you hit a
normal-sized
golf
lake.
ball from one side of the lake to the other?
That's
would be
that's a
normal
pond.
size lake.
That's a
It's
pond. Yeah.
That would be for me a pond, yeah.
Ted, for you, it would be a stream, and it'd have to be
And a stroke. That'd be a
dry
stroke.
stream.
A dry creek,
drop-in stroke.
a dry creek bed.
Oh my God! All right, so because I need to ask you guys before we get to Teddy's tips. I got to ask you guys a question. Have you used a vending machine lately? Can you even remember like the last time you used a vending machine?
So we have a place at our work. It's kind of a quasi vending machine. So it's like refrigerated food, but it's not like a vending machine where this spins out. No. So yeah, I mean, I think I did it a
It's
bowling
called a
alley.
refrigerator, and you're eating other people's food.
No,
Ted.
you get it, and then you pay for it. Like you swipe your card, they have like a camera on you. So when you pay for it, but no, I like so at my bowling, they have a vending machine for drinks. So I think one time I got like a bottled water out of it. So yeah, I did use a vending machine.
So I had the same
not
thing
too long
at Ted
ago.
at my job in Miami. They had actually pre-made food in this refrigerator.
like gourmet
It was
food,
actually pretty good.
like
and
gourmet, yeah.
You pay $10 and you get it automatically. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay. So
But I don't know if you really call it a vending machine. You're thinking like the vending machines with
The candy
candy
bars,
bars
yeah,
and all
or
that
it gets
crap.
stuck. It gets stuck. It's
no,
it
just
turns,
a vending machine.
Yeah.
Just any kind of vending machine
I don't
because
see them much anymore.
There was a little problem in Canada. They did not know this. Some students found out, and it was because there's a malfunction that M&M Mars vending machines have demographic facial recognition cameras built into them, so that every person, whether you buy or don't buy, because it's judging everything that happens, it's recording everyone who walks up to the machine.
So it's like a Ring doorbell.
So is it
In a
going to give me
machine.
the candy based on what I look like?
No, but it's going
It's gonna
to
give you the
build.
candy- it's gonna give you the
It's
candy
going
you
to
think
build
you need.
into
Yeah.
how old you are, your race.
So they're
your
gonna have the
everything.
demographics on
right.
everything.
They're going to have all that demographic stuff so that they can
Market.
market
Yeah.
that right. But the people said, hey, I mean, it wasn't that big of a deal. But then they said, are you going to use this for other things? And then all this other stuff, and then it's just more tracking. And they got kind of pissed, man.
Couldn't you say that about Google? Like every time you enter a search in Google, and then you notice how like if you search, let's say I search for golf equipment, and then coincidentally the next time I go on Google, it'll be like an AI smoke driver advertisement comes up. And obviously that's not a coincidence. So doesn't Google kind of do the same thing? All those social media sites
absolutely.
track
Our
your
phone's
all
doing
social
it.
media.
You talk to Mark like when we'll go to the bar after the show, and we'll open up our search, that little search engine thing, and stuff that we've talked about on the show ends up on our search engine. So they're tracking everything.
Well,
we do.
Yeah,
stuff
sure.
is scary now. Like we went to this new place for my birthday a couple weeks ago, and I didn't see any text or anything, and I picked up my phone and my navigation put me to this new place I'd never been before. Like, how did it know? Did it see a text? I didn't make the reservation.
Yeah.
It was the weirdest thing, and me and my daughter were like, "Oh my God, how do they know we were going there?" It was really bizarre. And that's happened a couple times.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm telling you, man, they know everything
Everything.
that we're doing.
There's no expectation of privacy. I know they say, oh, we're not tracking. Yeah, trust me. If the government wants to find out, or anybody wants to find out something about you, you got Spokeo. You could do reverse searches for someone's phone number. Everything's public
Spokeo.
information. Spokeo.
I don't know what that is.
Spokeo. It's like a search engine for
Okay.
finding people. Even Google search. So I mean, there's no really expectation.
Who are
of
you trying to
privacy.
find on Spokeo?
Well, I found you. You're here. I just wanted
That's why
to,
I'm doing the podcast.
just want to
yeah.
make sure it was you.
Thank you.
we talk to all the people. Anytime we have a guest on, we're just like, it's like, well, I mean, I'm here. And it's like, well, we know you.
Yeah.
live.
Well, actually, the last
Yeah.
Spokeo search I did, I was looking for the guy that gave a shit, but I couldn't find him. So if you see him, keep me posted. All right.
God. Oh, you are the absolute worst. I swear to God. All right, we got to get to Ted's tips, and I am pretty excited about this one because I got to introduce. Fuck, I didn't introduce the show.
You
No one
forgot
knows who the hell I am.
somebody?
Yeah. Oh, that's all right. Is this your first non-alcohol related show?
I did Beer on the Wall,
Yeah.
North Shore Distillery, Prohibition, the very first one before Mark joined.
Oh yeah.
was
Okay.
non-alcohol.
Okay.
So this is I'm a fifth timer now. So do I
man.
get the jacket?
So you guys have met before.
You get the green jacket. It's like winning the Masters, except it's better.
So they had a 5 badge on SNL. You should make a badge, and then if I start walking around town, they're going to be like, they want to know where I've been. So when this is going to help you, forget 70,000, it might be 100,000 if they see me and Jackie with the 5 badge.
Wait, couldn't we just microchip you?
Yeah, you could. You could.
Okay, let's do it. All right. This is the Real 3 Idiots podcast, and happy National Nougat Day. Yeah, you want to play for this? You want to play this game? Anybody have any idea what nougat is? 'Cause I had to look
Chicken
it up.
nugget? Or
No,
nougat?
nougat. Wasn't that like
It's a
the carrot?
nougat.
Is carrot? It's like a carrot. It's like
Nougat.
caramel, like Nutella or something. Nougat.
So,
Nougat?
Steve, any guess?
No.
It's sugar and egg whites whipped up.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know because candy bars have nougat in them. I never knew what nougat was.
I'm thinking of Ted Nugent, but you're nougat. Yeah.
It's Happy National
Nougat.
Ted. Could
Ted
you imagine
Nougat
a
Day.
Ted Nugent Day? That would be great. He's crazy as shit. That'd be so
He's
awesome.
still doing his thing, yeah.
And in case you're wondering what that voice is, that is my brother-in-law, Steve.
Brother Steve, you guys called me last
Brother
night.
Steve. I don't like that because it sounds like
a little religious.
It sounds a little religious. Yeah. Mark is on vacation right now. It's his son's birthday. We tried to get him to zoom into the show, but he's like, this is so funny. He's like, oh, I'll be having fun with my family. It's my son's birthday. I'm like, so
Whoa.
you can't
alrighty then.
take a few minutes out to
No, man.
No. I'm like, okay, all right.
Oh, please, he's working on his third hole in one, according to him.
Yeah,
He had
that
two?
is-
He had
that
two
is
already?
complete
Already,
and total
He took
bullshit.
photos of the hole
Yeah.
in one?
There was a ball in the hole, so
Yep,
we just
yep.
assumed it was.
Yeah, I was listening to that the other day, and I was like, that's how we're gonna do it. We're just gonna put a ball in a hole and just like wave, hey. All right, so now we can get to Ted's tips, and Mark is gonna be very jealous because Steve, who texted me the other day, said, "Can I do a song for Ted's tips?" And I'm like, "Oh hell yeah, you can."
Oh, yeah.
So Steve, hit it.
So the sad part, I did this as a joke, but your optimism and you were so excited about it. I'm like, now I got to do this thing.
Yeah, but I didn't want to do it. I was gonna do it, but I didn't want to do it. So
All right. Well, I got to thank Mark's production team letting me use his recording studio. It was very helpful. But
all right.
let's give it a go. He might have done this song before, so I do apologize if he did. But we all listen to Ted's tips on any night. Although they sometimes make some sense, they're often way out of line. Was it something Ted said or assumption he missed? Did his tips not come out right? Though he tried to tip you, oh, he tried. But I guess that's why Matt says every tip has a flaw. Just like every show, Mark has his song. Just like Matt questions, Ted's answers all the time. Every tip has a flaw. Yeah, it does.
Wow.
Oh man.
Can I just make one comment?
Oh boy.
Mark's dead to me now. there is no Mark.
Oh my
I seriously sent that as a joke, so I love that song. So I wrote it, and then I sung it all the way here, actually. I was like, that's why I was asking, like, does Mark just remember the words, or does he actually read it like I just did?
Oh yeah, no, he reads it. He
Okay.
reads it. I
All
mean,
right.
yeah.
So
I
there's
like
no
that.
recording
Just like
studio.
every tip has a huge flaw.
I didn't say huge flaw, just a flaw.
He just added
Oh,
that.
okay. You know how you don't know the words and you just add your own words.
Well,
Yeah.
there's
So Matt's already
there's an
adding.
ongoing thing where my credibility needs to be undermined every step of the way. We can't miss an opportunity to do that. So
That's what I thought. I
so
thought it was
that's-
fitting. I
so
thought it was
bravo,
fitting.
bravo.
Ted, that's what National Nougat Day is all about. It's not about the candy. It's about Rip and Teddy. That's what
Can I
it's
put this
all
on the
about.
wall?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Mark's gonna kill me. I mean, I'm telling you, man. We're gonna see him Friday. He's coming back Thursday. We're golfing Friday. I love how he sold that. I hope his wife's not gonna listen to this show, but that's a great sell. Oh man, come on. We've been on vacation. I've been with you for 7 straight days. I need to not do that.
paid his dues.
Yeah. All right. Ted's tip is sponsored by the Philadelphia Board of Tourism. Philadelphia is proud to announce that they are no longer in the top 10 most dangerous places to live in America. Murders are down almost 1%, robbery and armed assaults have held steady, and there are now 35 cities where you are more likely to be raped than Philadelphia. And feel free to check out the largest collection of Lego art in the world. You can take a tour of the city in our brand new fully armed and armored Bradley fighting vehicle, virtually assuring your safety throughout the tour. And if you like food, check out our over 2,000 restaurants that all serve Philly cheesesteaks. Nice. There is a disclaimer. The city of Philadelphia is not responsible for nor guarantees your safety at any time you are in the city or as you approach the city. Also, please don't speak to or feed any of the residents. They will bite you.
Very nice. Is there some Philadelphia truth to that? Is there crime down or something?
Oh, no, they're a terrible place.
Okay.
Yeah, it's absolutely a shit show. Yeah. They're
top 35.
I actually took all the best things to try to make it sound. Yeah, they are. Don't go to Philadelphia, man.
Or Washington, D.C., or Baltimore, or
Detroit. Yeah, you want to avoid all
Detroit.
the
Detroit is getting nice.
It's getting better.
because no one lives there.
Yeah,
It's literally empty.
Miami had for 16 straight months the largest increase in housing prices. Detroit just last month. So something's going on downtown. It's picking up.
Definitely
I haven't been there in a long time.
No, it's definitely a revitalization project down there.
Yeah.
I've been there a few years ago, and it's getting nicer, at least in the downtown area.
Yeah,
so.
we were there for a Lions game.
Yeah,
the year before they were good.
Yeah,
damn it.
I went to a game and someone stole the pistons from my car. And driving out of that place, me and my son, the car just like died a mile later. It was so funny.
Wow.
Wait,
in the parking lot, like the Ford Field is right next to the baseball
they
stadium.
stole the stuff out of your engine?
Yeah.
That's pretty sophisticated.
Wait
Yeah.
a minute.
I was parked in the next lot. Like the baseball stadium is right next to the football field.
They opened your hood.
No, I don't know how I think they just went underneath with my son's car.
So instead of taking the catalytic converter, they took the pistons?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive. I've
Never even heard of that before.
It was like
What the
Mr. Goodwrench or something.
I don't know.
Oh my
I don't
God.
know.
Seems impossible that could happen.
That seems physically
I
impossible.
landed at a Bell Tire like a couple miles away, which was so lucky, but
Yeah.
it was.
That's
yeah.
insane.
Oh,
Those
you know,
was
it
the
was
bad days of Detroit. That was like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, that the Bell Tire people did that. You know, they probably did that to like 50 cars so that
I
they
don't
could
know.
the
No,
niceness.
you
I
know-
couldn't go faster than 30 miles an hour on the highway. It wasn't good.
You know what a good anti-theft device is? You put a Bushmaster snake in your inside your car, and then in the engine. So when they open it up, it just bites them right there.
What's a bushman?
It's just as poisonous as it's one of the most venomous snakes in the world.
Oh,
the Cape
you,
Buffalo?
You have to, yeah.
Bushmaster.
No, the Cape Buffalo is actually the third most poisonous buffalo. All right, Teddy, are you ready for your tip?
Yes.
And we are back to, just so you know, since Teddy blew Dear Abby's daughter away, she's out, and we're back to our tips. And I am so excited for this tip.
This tip has a flaw itself even before.
What? I love this. Okay. Ted, I need your help. My girlfriend and I are going to move in together. She's great. Only problem is she has a cat. These are his words. I fucking hate cats, even though I do fucking hate cats. On top of that, I'm allergic. This seems to be a real sticking point. What's the easiest way to kill a cat? I imagine there's a poison or some kind of food I can give them. Help, she's moving in at the start of July, so I have some time. I need to kill it now so it doesn't look like it happened right before she moves in. Alan, 31, Montreal. Hold on. Don't worry. She hates your show and never listens. It freaks her out that you just start the show with no intro. I think it's hilarious.
Okay, be careful with your flawed answer because this is a tough one.
So he's used the word hate twice in that one. So Alan,
I think fucking hate you.
yeah. So Alan, I'm gonna bottom line it for you, man. You know what? I don't like you. I don't like you, Alan.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Whoa!
I think you're a bad human.
What?
But the good news is, Alan.
This is a listener.
Jesus,
The
Ted.
good news, Alan, is
He's going to give you what poison to kill that cat?
I'm not going to tell you how to kill an innocent, defenseless animal, but for yourself, I would recommend taking a fentanyl-laced BLT at your earliest convenience, and then maybe you can pray to your imaginary God in the next life. Anyway, so here's my tip for you. Here's my real tip for you. My tip for you is your girlfriend should dump you immediately, and you should find someone who's just as much of a sociopath as you are, who hates animals or cats or whatever they are, and you two can live a life of ignorant bliss together. Because here's the bottom line, Alan. Maybe you're not aware of this. So when a woman loves something, whether it's animals or certain hobbies, they're always going to love the hobbies or their animals more than you or any guy. So when you make a woman have a choice where she has to give up something she loves in your favor, that's automatically a fail because she's always going to resent you for that. Okay, so and you're never going to be number one. So trust me, if she loves cats, I don't know if she likes them or loves them, but let's say she loves cats, she's always going to love cats, and the guy's always going to be secondary. So you need to find a woman who maybe who has an equal hatred of animals or cats as you do, and you guys will get along swimmingly. But I think ultimately, if you end up moving in with her, I think it's going to be a fail at some point down the road because it's a fatal flaw in your relationship that obviously is seems to be unsolvable. So, well, it's solvable. I would just say, find a girl or a woman who has more the same philosophy as you do, Alan.
You were triggered by that one. Wow.
Yeah, I'm not gonna, sit up here and tell somebody how to, kill a defenseless animal. That's ridiculous, of course. So
Okay, so I think Alan, what Ted is trying to say is it's defenseless. So anything can happen. So what you're saying, Ted, is open the door and let it run away. Don't kill it.
No, what I'm saying.
No, you got to repeat. What does he need to take with the BLT?
Fentanyl would be preferable, but if you find bath salt,
and that would work. You know what?
Salt,
A lot less would work on the cat. Let's be honest.
Bushmaster venom, stuff like that. I mean, it might paralyze you right away. You might still be conscious.
Hold on, Ted. Ted.
So now we're killing listeners. We're killing listeners.
Devil's advocate this.
Yeah.
What if she's the perfect person for him? It's just a cat.
But she's not.
It's just a cat, Ted.
No, but see, that's where you're wrong. It's not just a cat because people don't have cats if it's just a cat. They have cats because they usually like cats or love cats because it takes a lot of even though they're low maintenance, better than dogs, it still takes time to take care of them. So it's a flaw.
It's the same thing. It's part of the family.
I think the overall theme is that when you make a woman or a partner, whether it's a man or woman, you give them a choice. It's a binary choice. It's like you either pick this or me. They're gonna, even if they pick you over what they really like, they're gonna resent you for it. And those cracks over time turn into chasms. So just remember that. Cracks turn into
what
chasms.
if it's a really old cat?
She'll just get a new one. You ever heard of rescue cat from a shelter?
You know what? I hate cats, so I don't.
All right, yeah.
I mean, God, wow. I just did not know you cared that much about cats.
It's not about me caring about cats. It's just being empathetic in general. I mean, I like cats. I've never actually owned a cat personally. I wouldn't mind having one day, but if I didn't, that's cool. But I mean, like I said, the bottom line is, you can replace the cat. The cat's like the variable. You replace cat with anything that this woman likes and he dislikes it. I'm saying when you give a partner a choice.
I don't think he's going to kill her grandma. I mean, I feel like he just wants the cat out of the way because it's not going to work out.
Okay, well let's say he offs the cat somehow in a cloak and dagger way. What stops her from getting a new cat?
What way would that be?
That's what he wants to know.
Yeah, Ted.
Well, I'm sure Alan, if he's smart enough to write in for a tip, I'm sure he's smart enough to do a Google search.
But then it'll be on his computer. Teddy, we talked about this. You can't Google search these things, right? Because I don't know. Are there cat authorities? I don't know. Do the police? Yeah. Are there like I don't know. Are there pet cops?
Yeah,
East Ventura.
I mean, I think there's enough common knowledge out there. For example, if you had a rat problem or a rodent problem in your yard or something, or a possum problem, there's ways to obviously deal with critters.
Okay, so you're saying rat poison would work on a cat?
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that. I'm just like you shouldn't give a dog chocolate. I know that chocolate's bad for dogs. That's toxic for dogs. I'm just saying it's common knowledge. So he doesn't need my advice there, and I'm not inclined to give him advice about something like that. So my advice is it's a flawed relationship because if she loves her cat, even if she loves you or whatever you think, whatever fantasy you got in your head where this is the perfect woman, she's obviously not the perfect woman because she has something that you don't like, that you actually despise. And like I said, even if you made her get rid of the cat, let's just say if she voluntarily got rid of the cat, I guarantee you, unless she really wasn't in the cat to begin with, she's going to resent you over time. So like I said, that crack will turn into a chasm, and you'll be headed for a breakup at some point down the road anyway.
I like it. So Ted's saying, screw Alan, and we're down to 69,999 listeners now.
Damn it.
And Alan can be replaced.
Ted, what if he's a hardcore listener, man?
Well, you know what? It's a little tough love, So if he loves us, he'll keep listening. He'll keep listening. He'll keep on loving us. Keep on loving you like REO Speedwagon.
I'm gonna keep on
loving you. Yeah, he knows he can't turn away, so it's okay.
Oh man, okay.
I like it because it was a flawed tip or question to begin.
Just like
really,
and Ted jumped all over.
Just like Scarface said, just give him a Quaalude, he'll love me in the morning.
Yeah.
Teddy, I gotta be 100% honest with you. I did not see this coming.
You don't see anything coming.
I figured you would. I figured you would gently, in the nicest possible way, figure out
a bunch of poisons,
what the best poison or what the best way, like cat guillotine. Can a cat really jump off like a 20-story building?
I'm not here.
In an airplane engine. I don't know.
I'm not here to be an aider and abetter to something like that. So
the animal rights activists, we're going to get so many more listeners now. It's gonna
PETA?
be exponential.
PETA.
Yeah,
Man,
it's going to be
yeah.
great.
I'm pretty sure the animal rights activists are not going to like my answer. They're going to like Ted's answer.
Yeah.
But you're not supposed to give an answer because it's my tip. And you read the tip, and I give the tip. And then, so why are you still talking about the tip? You ever heard of boundaries? I'm just kidding. Go ahead. What do you got to say?
We're fighting. Yeah, we're fighting.
Like a
Ted.
rock'em sock'em
No,
robot.
we're in a
We're going to break
legit.
this up.
Yeah, we're in a legit fight, and so our guest is an expert on human behavior.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you right now, I think he's going to behave. I think he's going to see that you are really mean with your words.
Yeah, well,
No, I'm just kidding. I don't give a shit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, when he talks about, the sociopath, the psychopath, that kind of fits into sort of this tip in a very ancillary way when you think
Alan's
about
a psychopath.
it. Yeah.
Hey, I don't think he is.
Well, I mean, he wants to kill a living thing for his own benefit. So why couldn't you just extrapolate that to a person? Well, what if he said, "Oh, well,
Wait, Ted, we kill mosquitoes every day.
yeah, well, mosquitoes kill the most. Actually, out of all the animals on the planet, mosquitoes kill the most people every year, other than Cape
Oh, so
Buffalo.
killing mosquitoes is okay.
Yeah, I don't think it's a correlation. Yeah, they carry malaria, they carry disease. A lot of people die from being bitten by mosquitoes.
So killing mosquitoes is good.
Killing mosquitoes is good. Yeah, I wouldn't kill. Not killing spiders. Killing spiders is not good because spiders kill other insects.
I know. You know what? Mark made me not kill the spider in my bathroom.
Yeah.
So the spider is still there.
Unless it's like a brown recluse or black widow and it could
How
kill
would you know?
Yeah, well,
I wouldn't know.
You won't have those here.
trapdoor spider. I don't know.
Oh my God! Could you see a trapdoor spider in my toilet? And it just opens the toilet up and just.
Yeah.
So you have a spider in there?
You know what's scary is
All
like a tarantula, but they're actually not. They're pretty harmless, actually. That's another story. Okay?
All right, Teddy, we got to let this go. We're gonna see if our guest here. You know what? Our guest is gonna judge all of us because I have a feeling that he's very good at this, and he's probably already heard enough to realize that I am not the yellow that I think I am, and that I am a red. And you'll see if that makes sense. Yeah, you'll see if
Coughing
that makes
after
sense.
this,
All
the
right.
scene.
Our guest this week is, get ready for this, a lecturer, an internationally renowned expert on human behavior, a worldwide best-selling author, and get this is absolute insanity, who has sold over 8 million books in 56 different languages, which is really only 55 more languages than I know.
It's amazing.
Okay. Gentlemen, please help me welcome Thomas Erickson to the show.
Yeah.
Welcome, Thomas.
Welcome,
Glad you're here.
welcome,
Gentlemen.
welcome.
Oh, thank you so much for being on the show. Oh man, let me ask you this. Now, I know you've written books about surrounded by idiots, surrounded by psychopaths, surrounded by narcissists. But honestly, when you hear me say all that stuff about you, do you feel like, and you do that? Do you feel like the coolest person in the room every time?
Not really, no. I have to say no to that one because I'm from Sweden and we can't talk about ourselves at all. So who am I? I don't know. No, you shouldn't have. That's kind of our way to do this. So, but I would say as an introduction, I would like to take my hat off to Ted here, who I don't know at all, but his advice on the Cat Allen Canadian stuff thing there was 100%. It was so spot on. I salute you, sir.
I agree.
Sir, it's
100%. Totally correct.
Brilliant
on
minds
all
think,
levels.
Brilliant minds think alike. So thank you, sir. That'll be my last comment.
Oh man, golly! You know what? I every time I do this too, Thomas. Every time I do this, I'm wrong, and the guest always agrees with Ted. So yeah, there we go.
The point is you disagree for the sake of disagreeing. So I don't know if this is really the case that you actually are wrong because you want to make a show out of it. So
The natural animosity.
Why not?
Yeah.
That's totally okay.
He's just like the bad cop, good cop, bad cop. He just can't get out of the bad cop mode. It's
Exactly,
okay, yeah.
exactly.
It's not his
And he
fault.
likes it.
Yeah.
Oh,
He likes
man.
this reputation of being, this a bit of, let's say, you just be controversial, to say something opposite and trying to, stir things up a little bit because things are getting boring here. We need to sort of, get going here
He's like
get
what is
some
it? It's like-
energy in the room.
So Thomas
right?
has listened
Am I
to all
wrong,
100
Mark?
episodes. Then
He's like
Tell me I'm wrong.
He's like Laurel and Hardy, but without the funny part of it. Okay, gotcha.
See, this is what happens when you have an expert on human behavior, and I behave
Exactly.
badly.
I am watching you, listening to you, paying a lot of attention, and to all of you, and Ted also, and Mr. Steve here, was it?
yes,
Hi there.
yes.
Steve is right. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
So,
So the reason
no.
the reason we have you on today is that you wrote a series of books called the Surrounded series, and I kind of mentioned it, but the first one I believe was Surrounded by Idiots. Is that correct?
Right.
Yeah, and then let's see, surrounded by psychopaths, surrounded by narcissists, surrounded by bad people, bad bosses.
Bosses.
Yeah, bad bosses. And man, I absolutely love this. And when I started reading it, I was just like, man, we got to talk to you. So as you're doing this, as you're starting to come up with this, how do you come up with the idea? Obviously, you've been doing this for a while, but how do you come up with the idea to write a book about this and kind of put it in there so that's so easy for people to understand?
Well, the thing is, starting with the surrounded by idiots thing there, it's actually, I mean, I can't take cred for the phrase itself. We all been in those meetings, sitting around a table, paying attention, trying to listen, taking good notes, and trying to figure out what everybody else is thinking. And when we leave the room, we kind of have this notion, I am surrounded by idiots. We've been in those meetings, So this is not very unique, but the kind of this recognition in that phrase is, I think it's a lovely piece because, the title itself is actually about marketing, I would say.
That's why
When I went to my publisher and said, I'm going to write a book about idiots, it's going to be called Surrounded by Idiots, and this is the cover, and they said, it's the stupidest thing you ever told us. Scrap the whole idea. It's really silly. People are going to get angry. It's a stupid title. It's an ugly cover. Don't do it. And for me, that's sort of a go signal, because I'm a little bit like you, Mark. I can't just go along with everybody else. I have to, do something quite opposite. So I went along with it, and people said, we recognize this. We recognize ourselves, we recognize our partners, our spouses, we recognize our parents and our neighbors and everybody else and the boss. And this is kind of funny. And I'm trying to present a specific method that actually is very useful, but in a, let's say, easy to chew kind of way. You can sort of take it to you without getting a PhD. For me, that is the whole point of everything that I do, everything that I try to spread over the world and try to teach people about human psychology and pop psychology, if you want to call it that, basic human behaviors, so people can sort of get interested and curious, and then maybe read another book or take a degree or study psychology. I don't care really, but I want to bring people in because this is fascinating. And hey, take a look at where the world is heading. We need to understand each other more and better and pay some attention. I think that's actually true.
Absolutely. Oh yeah. So that's the funny thing. So it's surrounded by idiots, but really it's the concept that we all feel like everybody else is kind of stupid compared to us, right? They don't have the knowledge that we have. Because we don't understand them. And I love how you broke people down into these different colors so that we can kind of get a better idea of who we are first. I would say that's probably more important. And then how to deal with other people. So how did you come up with these colors?
I didn't.
Oh, okay. Good job.
Someone else did.
I cannot take credit for the system in itself. This is based on something called a disc profile, which is a system, a model, if you want to call it that. It's a 2x2 matrix based on task orientation, people orientation, extroversion, introversion. So you get these 4 boxes: red, yellow, green, and blue. The colors I put there just to actually make it more pedagogical. It's so easier for people to understand and to remember basically their profile. It's easy to remember the red and yellow behavior instead of a high D over an I with a low C. Or an ENTJ personality, or sorry, ENTF, ETP, ITBK, is it? No, red and yellow. There you go. So it's only to add a layer of easy to remember kind of concept. But the basics is something called a disc profile, which has been around for, I don't know, 50 years.
So these profiles, does everybody fit into one? Because I was reading them and I am sometimes in certain social situations, I'm yellow, sometimes I'm green. I know the two that I'm not, but do people really fall into a box, or is there, some movement with that?
Good question. 5% of the population in the industrialized world actually fall into one of the boxes. As 5%. My wife, she's only red, nothing but red, and fully red, and so help me God. The point is, 80% of the people is a combination of 2 colors.
Okay.
Why do I call people red or yellow or green or blue? Well,
Okay.
it's like baking a cake. You need to understand what egg does to the mixture, or if you put sugar in it, or milk, or what kind of milk. You need to understand the basic ingredients. But yes, indeed, Steve, you are a combination of yellow and green. That is the truth. Ted over here is much more yellow than you are.
There you go.
Wait, are you kidding me? I thought Teddy for sure.
You said blue.
Yeah, I thought for sure Teddy was going to be like a green-blue combination. You're thinking he's a yellow? Because, wait a minute, that means if Ted's yellow, that means I'm red, right?
There's no
Oh,
question.
no.
Why is
Well, what I actually said was that Ted is more yellow than Steve is.
Oh, okay.
That's what I
okay.
actually said.
And for our lay audience,
So-
for our lay audience who might not know what those terms mean, can you distill to us what that actually means to our?
Yes. Red means a task-oriented and extrovert, which is the D, which stands for dominant. The I in the disc is the influence, which is the yellow part, which is extrovert and people-oriented. And the other people-oriented profile is the green, the stability one, people-oriented but introvert. And then you have the blue part, who is introvert and task-oriented. That's the C, compliance or conscientious, if you want. That's the blue part. But then again, back to Steve's question, most people are a combination. I am a combination of 3 colors, which is very complicated, especially for my wife.
like a rainbow? So Matt
Usually
is
she says too many words, so many words. Do we have to talk so much?
you know
I
Matt
say,
is red.
Absolutely.
Matt is red because he's got his own camera. While we share a camera. What's that all about?
You know what? That's
like
not it has nothing to do with my redness. It's just my importance and my self feeling of
Self-worth.
importance. All right, so as you're putting this
I
together,
rest my case.
as you're putting this together, one of the things I got from this, and we were talking a little bit before we got started, was how important it is if you really want to learn about people and doing these things, is to first kind of get a good gauge as to who you are in this, so that you can kind of deal with other people. Do you notice when you talk to people, can they really get a good gauge of who they are, or do they kind of live in like a fantasy world where they take some of just a little bit of the negative part, but kind of focus on the good stuff?
Well, self-awareness is a funny thing. It's very useful. It's very good to understand who you are. I mean, let's go serious for a couple of minutes here. We can joke about this, and I certainly do quite a lot, but let's go serious. The thing is, let's start with this. If communication is the same way when it comes to verbal or intuitive communication as when it comes to, well, I don't know, physical communication. Let's say I want to go to Philadelphia, Mark. How about that? I call my travel. I
don't recommend it.
Sorry, I couldn't help myself now. But let's say, for the sake of argument, I would like to see it with my own eyes. Based on your description, I'm very curious. So I call my travel agency up. We don't do that anymore, but for the sake of argument. And I say, hey, I want to go to Philadelphia. Get me a ticket. And they would say, no problem. And then they will ask me, from where would you like to go? Just imagine I said, never mind that. Don't be so problem-oriented. Get me the damn ticket. How will they solve it? Answer, they won't. You need 2 dots on the map to connect things. To communicate, you need a starting point and you need a destination. You yourself will always be the starting point. If you don't know where you are, as in who you are, how would you know how to communicate with him or her or whoever? You need to know how you are perceived by people around you. That is just the case. And surrounded by idiots means that when we don't pay attention to ourselves, all of us will be an idiot in somebody's story. That is just the way it is. So you are the starting point. The problem with self-awareness is quite big. It works like with humor. Everybody thinks they have it. But guys, we know a lot of people don't have any humor. We know this. We can't talk about it. We know this is
He's
the case.
talking about you, Ted.
I enjoy.
I think he's got a lot of humor, but he's also a very serious person. That's because of his drivers, I would say. And he's taking good notes. I can hear the scratching on a piece of paper.
He's doodling.
Now he probably takes the pen away to not reveal himself. I don't know.
I actually have a title
People
for
who's listening to
at
this.
the end of the episode. I actually have a potential title for a new book if you happen to write. I could just tell you now. a potential title for just to change the subject just for a half a second. So here's my title for your new book, suggested title: Gazing Out into a Sea of Ineptitude. What do you think of that one? Write that down. Okay.
I will now take good notes as well. But the point is this. The point is there is actually a study by this American psychologist, I believe, Tasha Urish. She found out the following: 80% of people would consider themselves above average when it comes to self-awareness. Interesting, huh? It's like asking men, are you a good driver? 75% above average. How about that?
Yes,
it's a joke. But
all of us, absolutely.
And that kind of goes with the other book, and we can kind of jump back and forth. The Surrounded by Narcissists. When you start to describe how narcissism starts and the concept behind it, it's really amazing how little things kind of create this feeling that you are so special compared to everybody else. And I love that concept, because I feel like at this point now, a lot of people feel very, very special. And I like how you kind of knock it down and say that we're not really all that special when you kind of think about it. I mean, when you were doing that book about the narcissism, I mean, did you learn things did you find things out that you were like, wow, I did not realize that these two things connect when you talk about like 2 points that connect?
Yes. The first thing I could say about narcissism is, if you want to study narcissism, study cats. Hi, Alan in Canada. Cats are the most narcissistic animal on the face of the earth. If you want to know how it works, study cats.
So change your
Moving
tip,
on, the point with narcissism is, it's what affected me mostly when I did the research is, narcissism is not a new concept. It's a personality disorder. It's not a mental illness. It cannot be treated or cured. As with psychopathy, it cannot be changed. It's in their brains. It's in the amygdala, which controls the flight or fright mode, amongst a couple of other stuff as well. But the point with narcissism is it is spreading like a sort of a disease. It's spreading like a human behavior. We are in the middle of a narcissistic pandemic, I would say, and this is actually, we could a little bit blame social media for this. It's so easy to sort of show yourself to the world, and we know that most people do not show the dirty dishes on Instagram. We understand this, and it's fully okay. But the behavior in itself is narcissistic. Look at me. I am absolutely gorgeous, fantastic, beautiful. I am multilingual, and I can do whatever. And if people say that I can't, I will call them idiots. Narcissists are very, very touchy when it comes to these things. They don't accept criticism, because then you're an idiot, you're a fool, you're a moron, you're a troll, you have nothing to contribute to this. And narcissism is definitely spreading. Teenagers who haven't been treated properly during their teens will continue to be teenagers for the rest of their lives. The teens, it depends, but say 13 to 18 is the most narcissistic period in a human being's life. It's a survival mechanism, and they have to be kind of tough a little bit, you know what I mean? But then they have to get out of it and start, contributing to the society. But these days, people kind of don't do that, because it has become okay to focus only on yourself. And when I say only on yourself, a lot of people in my business, these self-help gurus, some of them are really, really good. So I'm not saying anything about that. But the point is, listen to yourself and fulfill your own needs first, and pay attention to you and your needs and everything. Fine. But you cannot do this only. You also have to sort of raise your gaze a little bit and take a look around you, because you are not alone. You cannot act as if you were the only person in the hood. You need to pay attention to others as well. If not, you are a narcissist. That's just the way it is.
Interesting. You said narcissist, and I think you said psychopaths before. They cannot change. So that's kind of sad if that's the truth. I mean, is that a reality? If someone's got that manipulative, opportunistic mentality, it's just never going to change? Can't they get empathy through experience? Or, you know where I'm going with that. You mentioned twice already that they cannot change.
They cannot change. If you talk about, it's more crystal clear when it comes to psychopaths than with narcissists. Narcissism, all psychopaths are narcissists, but not all narcissists are psychopaths. It's sort of a floating scale, and no one can see what I'm doing with my hands here. But the point is, this is scale. You can't get certain points on a certain checklist and so on and so forth. But the thing is, you cannot change. It's like saying to a cat, "Don't hunt mice." You can't chase them around. You can't play with them. And certainly, you can't kill them, and you can't eat them. Tell that to any cat, and he will just look at you and say, "What are you talking about? Why wouldn't I? I'm a predator." That is psychopathy, and very often also narcissism. Even though I would consider two bad things, I would go with the narcissist before the psychopath, because psychopaths are dangerous, and that is not a joke. It's no damn joke. They are dangerous. Not all of them are violent, but they will manipulate you and screw your head up completely. And we've seen those people around a lot, and it's painful. I have experienced both in my life, and it's painful. It is painful, Mark.
So is it important then? I mean, I'm thinking about, because we were talking about this. Steve's running a big company now, okay? And anybody who's doing that, is it important to know? I'm looking at these different colors and the different things, and knowing your audience. Is it something that isn't happening enough to people who are running companies or running, are in charge of large amounts of people, that they don't know enough about the people that are around them, so that they're not being good leaders? They don't know how to put together a good team. They don't know how to match the personalities of the people. Is it something that is it like a basic thing that should happen to so that everybody has this information?
It would be a good thing if everybody understood themselves and understood the team and the team members and so on. Obviously, it starts from above. I mean, water is always pouring downwards. If the management doesn't pay attention, why would I pay attention? But if the top management, the chairman and the CEO and downwards, if they pay attention and see, this is who I am, let me tell you what I think and what I would like to emphasize, and my priorities and my basic values and all of these things. You don't have to go private and tell them your darkest secrets. That's not what I'm talking about. But if you can show people who you are, then you also have sort of an alibi to ask other people, so who are you then? You can test this with tools. There are digital tools for get real reports and graphs and all of that stuff. I think it's a good thing. People criticize me sometimes. We don't like to label each other. We shouldn't label each other. Well, maybe not. But hey, we are labeling each other constantly. We just use different labels. So why not use something that is useful? That's my point of view. In any organization, why not use these, call it labels, call it guidelines to understand. If it's an introvert, if a person is an introvert, maybe I shouldn't tell him to do the karaoke sober. Maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should say, hey, would you like to sit a little bit to the side with a glass of red wine? Oh, that would be lovely. Thank you so much. Sure. Why would you demand someone to violate their personality? Don't do that. It's stupid.
I like what you're saying.
But what's the question?
There's no question about it. I like what you're saying. In the leadership role, what you're saying is completely right. It doesn't matter how much you know. It's how you deal with people. And what I've learned and what people should learn is what your example just was, where I might have the same task for Ted and Matt, and I'm going to do it in a completely different way based on I know how their perception is and how they're going to deal with me. So I might act differently for each person because you have to adapt to that personality throughout the organization. I think that's what your message was before.
Absolutely. I mean, just imagine how people are acting in an organization. And Steve, if you have a big company, I don't know what you're doing.
I wouldn't call it big, but it's
wouldn't call it big, wouldn't call it small. It's a company.
Yeah.
All right. There's more than you, at least, on board.
Yeah.
All right. But how do you recognize a red person? A red person asks what questions? What is supposed to be done here? A yellow person is asking who questions. Who's in on this? Who's on the team? And who am I supposed to work with? Yay, right. Whoa, is it a good one? Green people asks how questions. How is this supposed to be? How will we deal with this? And how should we, put it together? And the blue people, they ask why questions. Why is this important? What's the analysis behind all of this? If you only could understand that tiny piece, you could sort of put people in certain corners of the room, and you can understand, okay, if I get a lot of these questions, I could adjust my answers in the correct way, and you will get less friction, you will get less misunderstandings, less misconceptions of whatever you are delegating out there, I don't know, and less conflict equals you will save time and you will make more money. This is what I do for the organizations that I work with. This is how I help people to take away all the rubbish. When the chain breaks, it's 10% bad routines, but it's 90% bad communication. And this is a huge piece of it.
Wow, it's funny. I think about, I was in the same company for 20 some odd years, same school for 25 years with 100 or so people. And I think to myself, if I would have put a little bit more effort into learning the different people that were around me, I think I would have been a little bit happier. I mean, I think I personally, whether my job was fulfilling or not, I think I could have done a better job at this.
Learning and listening too, that's a key a lot of the time.
Yeah. Do you find when you're talking to people that they kind of have like an epiphany, or they kind of have that kind of moment where they realize that this is something that can be helpful to me?
I was in Toronto last fall, and I gave a lecture for, I think it was, 900 dentists gathered from all Canada. And I gave a talk, keynote speech, and I talked about the colors and communication and self-awareness and things. And afterwards, two people were standing at the side of the scene. I was, packing my laptop and all of that. And I saw they wanted to say something. I said, okay, come on up here. What's going on? I said, no, we don't want to distract you. Just say hi, And I said, no, you want something from me. Well, what is it? So the guy came up. They stood there, looked kind of cute, a man and a lady. And he said, well, we are kind of sort of a couple. And I said, okay. And then he said, we have been moving in and out from each other, for years, back and forth, back together and then apart and back together and apart. Because it's been really tricky. It's been a bumpy road. We can't get along. We don't understand each other. And it's been, a lot of conflicts. But we kind of love each other. And she starts to giggle, yeah, we kind of love each other. And I said, okay, so what are you going to do? Well, then we read your book, Surrounded by Idiots, and we suddenly realized there is no idiot in this relationship. He's red and I'm green, she said. Yep. We are just very, very different. But when we figure that out, we realized, oh, is this how you are thinking? Is this why you are communicating this way? And I said, congratulations. And then he said, well, now we are getting married. So thank you, sir.
It had to make you feel good.
These moments for me is like, wow, it's hard to describe it. On the radio, I almost said, it's hard to describe how this makes me feel because it's a simple method, but it's easy to wrap your head around it. And again, I am red, she's green, but we figured it out. We are getting married. And I have so many of these stories, people saying, we finally got it. A lot of people are quitting therapy. They don't go to couple therapy sessions anymore because they said, we understand now what the problem is. We cannot communicate, but now we can. We got a kind of a roadmap. And I mean, how cool is that? And I've seen this every week in 56 languages, as you mentioned, in the introduction that you don't even have or whatever it was. So that is, for me, a lot of people are getting epiphanies, I guess, because damn, why couldn't I see this? Why couldn't I see it? But now I can see it, and now I cannot unsee it. It's super cool. I love it.
No, that is. I mean, that's that concept, right? Where if you and we all have different friends, right? We Teddy and I, we have a group of friends, that we see on a pretty regular basis, and we're kind of you start to see these different things. And you start to realize how much easier it is to deal with the people that you see on a regular basis because you know where they're coming from. And I feel like that's going to help a lot. And then when I read this, I'm looking at some of the colors and some of the positives and the negatives and the different things, and I started to think, all right, so I see my own negatives, and how can I do it? Do you find a lot of people are able to say, all right, I understand what color I am, I understand my positives, that's great, but I'm looking at my negatives. How can I make it easier for the people I deal with? Is that something that kind of like, is that an epiphany that people have also, where they can kind of, mitigate what's happening to their negatives?
Just be nicer to Ted.
Go to hell, Ted.
Was that? you know, a question that I get a lot is which color has the highest level of self-awareness? But the problem is that is actually the wrong question. The thing is, if you're interested in people, that helps. Who are interested in people? Well, yellows and greens, they are people-oriented. Those are the people's people, in a way. But if you, I'm not going to go all Simon Sinek over you here, but you need to find a reason. You need to find some kind of why. If you are struggling with constant conflicts, and in a red person's case, it takes too much time. I don't care about the damn conflict. I can live with a bloody neighbor. He's an idiot. I don't care about him. But it takes time. It takes focus. It steals focus and it steals results from me. So I need to sort of get along better with people. For a yellow person is, will I be more likable if I pay more attention to others? For a green person, it is, how will I just resolve any conflict anywhere all the time? And for a blue person, it's, can I raise my quality of work, let's say, by, learning more from other people? Then I have to pay attention to them. There's always a good reason to understand other people. Regardless who you are, how perfect you might think that you are, / narcissistic, doesn't really matter, because you will always be in minority. Everybody else will be different than you are. Say to yourself, I am unique. Fine, I have no problem with that. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. I don't know. There's 7.5 billion people on the planet. If everybody's unique, it's not a big concept, really. It's just, it's just the way nature works. We are all unique. Fine, let's move on. But if you feel that you have a good reason to investigate, to pay attention, and to listen, to really, really dig into what is happening around this guy or this lady over here. How can I learn more about this individual? Well, pay some bloody attention and learn about yourself, and you will see life will be so much easier. I've done this, I don't know how many thousands of times. I started my career as a complete fool. I messed up everything. No, seriously, I'm not kidding. I messed it all up time and time again. I just did it because I thought I had it down, but I hadn't. I was a complete idiot, but I learned. I'm still improving. I'm still working on me, sort of a life project, I guess. So yes, it's worth to pay attention to people. No one, unless you're aiming for a career as a hermit. But none of you are, right? Especially Steve with his big company and everything.
Very small company.
Steve's the face of the company.
And Ted and Mark and who's not here? Who was it?
Oh, Mark's
Matt,
not here. That's Matt. Matt's here.
Yeah, Matt's here.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
So Thomas,
we're
don't worry about
I'm
it.
surrounded by idiots
but
too.
we all have a reason. Everybody will need other people. Maybe not all the time and everywhere, but you won't make it without being able to communicate and collaborate with people. It sounds like a cliche. I understand that, but damn it, is still the truth. So hallelujah.
Thomas, I hear your passion. How did you get into this? I used to be fascinated with psychology when I was in school a long time ago. I never went into it. I mean, Carl Jung, he's from Switzerland, I believe. Were you inspired by somebody, or is this business acumen where you've come up with these? What's your inspiration? Because I see your passion and I love it.
It's a good question, and I appreciate it. I had an epiphany of my own, I would say. When I was 24, I got my first managing position. I'm an ex-banker. Oh. Don't judge me.
Finance. We're in the same industry. There we go. The same industry.
No, but anyways, so I got my first man. I was a good sales guy, really good sales guy. So I said, okay, I'm a good sales guy. I'm probably a good middle manager as well. Probably, I'll probably figure it out. So I sold myself to these people. Said, take me, and they for some reason did, and I messed it up. As I said, it's so painful to talk about it. Still, 30 years later, still so painful. Because whatever people came to me with, I said, well, solve it or fix it or deal with it or do something. Because I didn't know. I didn't know anything. I was a manager. I was, sort of managing. Don't ask me all of these questions.
So basically what happened, you got promoted to the level of your incompetence at the time. That's what happened.
Absolutely so.
Happens all the time.
After I think
your fault.
8 or
It's not your
9
fault.
months, yeah, people were sort of frowning when I entered the room, and I said, I was kind of a cool guy, 24, great suit, and a beautiful tie, and I knew how to comb my hair, and look like a manager, but I didn't know nothing. So I went to my boss's boss, 2 levels up, and I said, take me out of this equation. I don't know what I'm doing. He said, you better stay put, Sonny, because your boss is even worse than you. He's not even here. So you just stay in there. Hang in there, and we'll see what happens.
You were surrounded by idiots, it sounds like.
Surrounded by, exactly, touche, as they say in Germany. But the thing is this, after a year or so, I managed to sort of just cross my name out on the organizational chart and get out of that. And then the HR department, by the way, when you leave a job, you sit around the coffee table and someone bought some piece of cake and you have coffee or whatever, and they give you a little gift. They say, good luck on your next step in your career. And, they didn't give me anything.
Good riddance.
It was awkward silence for 20 minutes. At the final stage of this horrible, horrible meeting, I gave them a plant and said, I'm sorry. At the final stage of this meeting, one of the ladies, she felt so bad for me. She said, yeah, we got a little bit better at the end, it was awful. And then the HR department called me up and said, hey, would you like to fancy a personality test, would you? And I said, sure, I'm a willing learner. So then I met the disc profile, the 4 colors, the first time. And I filled the questionnaire in, and I got the report in my hand, and I said, this is horrible reading. What is this? It's you, my friend, they said. Would you like to talk about it? But it's me. It's the truth about you. Yes. You better book a meeting with us. And they gave me some feedback. And it was horrifying. It was scary as you cannot imagine, because there were all my lovely flaws that I haven't even considered, because I was a fool, a complete fool. But I learned. This was the starting point. Maybe I should pay some attention to me. So I started working on me at the age of 25. 3 years later, I went back to a managing position, and I did much, much better, because I didn't enter the room thinking I knew everything. So lowering sort of my, being more humble, paying more attention, working on my listening skills, which is not natural for me, because I have, no green whatsoever. Terribly sorry. I mean, on my mother's side, they took all the green there. But I'm doing much better now. But I think I got adjusted or corrected or put on the right track. Let's say early enough for not sort of screwing my whole life up, because some people in their early 50s still don't understand. People think differently from what you do, Have you ever noticed that? No, I haven't. I don't listen to people. I don't like people. Well, you're up for a sort of a big surprise here.
Is part of it that people don't want to believe what, if they did something like that, they don't want to believe what the outcome is, because obviously you were shocked by some of the things that happened. I mean, do people just kind of are in denial? It's like, that's not me. I'm the funniest guy. I'm the best looking guy. I'm the smartest guy. And when they get that information, that
people love me. Why wouldn't they love me?
Right.
Exactly. That's exactly the point. And back to what I said before, 80% of people think they have self-awareness. But when you do a 360 analysis, asking everybody around them, who are you talking about? Who is this guy? No. 10, maybe 15% has a sort of a natural self-awareness, who really understands who they really are. They can look themselves in the mirror and see the truth. but most people cannot. And you know what it is like to change yourself. People say, it's impossible. It's not impossible. We change all the time, but only when we want to. We don't change because we should or we ought to, or someone told us, you should be a better listener, or you should talk more, or you should do this or that, or don't do this or don't do that, or whatever. But the point is, again, back to your original question there, Mark, which is a good one. Can everybody find his epiphany? Well, you can find a good reason to do something. If you are struggling with person X, Y, or Z, or maybe all of them at the same time, maybe they are not the problem. It's like the old story about the guy you knew at high school. He sort of, this girlfriend was a stupid one, and this girlfriend was really, really dumb, and then the other one was silly, and she didn't understand. Well, who is the lowest common denominator in all of these stories? That would be you, sir. Maybe you should view yourself in the mirror and actually take a good look. What do you really see?
Well,
if everybody's complaining, maybe you're the problem.
Well, that's funny because they mentioned there's obviously Reddit threads and a lot of social media threads, and they talk about green flags and red flags, and like a big red flag for like women, for example, is when a guy says, "Oh, my ex is crazy," and every ex he had was crazy, but like I said, what's the common denominator? It's him. So that's one of those red flags that you got to be able to connect the dots and put the pieces together. It doesn't mean it's not a be all end all, but it is it is a flare, a warning sign, so to speak, for that theme, like you mentioned.
Absolutely. I mean, firstly, you need to identify the problem, whatever it is. You can call it anything; it doesn't really matter. You need to identify, and then you need to accept it is a problem. No one will solve a problem they don't understand exists. No one will solve a problem they don't accept as their own problem. That would be on you, mate. You solve your problem. I take care of my problems. Happily for me, I don't have any. So let's make it a problem of yours then.
Is that part of?
Let's give this guy a problem.
is that part of the narcissism thing? Where and again, I told these guys right before the show started, I listened to the beginning of the Surrounded by Narcissists, and as you described like a kind of a standard narcissist, and I'm no fan, but I felt like you literally described Donald Trump to the absolute, because it's somebody that we've seen, a narcissist that we've seen, for the last, 6-8 years. And when you described him perfectly, I thought you understand exactly, you had that exact understanding of what a narcissist is. And when that guy is like that, I mean, when we start to recognize it, how do we like get away from it? Because I feel like, narcissist, Donald Trump, a lot of cult leaders, Elon Musk. I'm seeing all these people. How do we kind of turn that voice off, or turn that narrative off when we are part of, when we see it so much? How do we get away from it?
How do you turn the whole enterprise around? Well, I don't really know. Donald Trump is obviously a narcissist. That is the truth. The thing is, from over here in Europe, the reports from the US is very, very, it's very tilted towards everybody hates Trump over here. If you really look at what he actually accomplished, I mean, there's one thing about him that I like. He didn't start any wars. I can salute him for that. But he's a super strange person. He's such a weird individual. How could he ever reach such a position? As a European, this is really hard to wrap my head around. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know how that happened.
But we can
and then I see Joe Biden on the screen. I don't understand that either.
But we can extrapolate.
What's going on?
But we can extrapolate that
He don't
argument.
even find his way up to the podium.
Yeah.
I feel sad for the gentleman.
But we can extrapolate that to like any company out there. Like, how could this person be a supervisor or a manager or a CEO? Because they seem completely incompetent, over their heads. They must have known somebody. They must have been at the right place at the right time. But you can extrapolate what's happening with American politicians to any walk of life where there's like a supervisor. I'm not, just talking about, someone who's, maybe you don't like the supervisor because they're competently doing their job, but someone who's incompetent. Because I think I mentioned several episodes ago, you can tell you're dealing with an incompetent manager. You go to them, you ask them a question, and then they get defensive and they answer your question with another question like, "Oh, you don't know." Didn't we talk about this already? Yeah, because they're masking their own inequities, so to speak. Yeah. So.
Absolutely. Listening to Mr. Trump is a very, as a behaviorist myself, it's a very weird thing, but it's also fascinating. I mean, he fascinates people, and I can understand why that is. Narcissists has always fascinated people. That's why we sort of let them, we just keep them around, if you know what I mean. And they can do good things as well. I mean, people say, I mean, he was probably a better businessman than he was a president. And what do I know? I don't know. I'm a total amateur on American politics. I don't know anything. But he did make himself a billionaire. And then people might say, well, he got $1 million from his father, you know, how hard could it be? Well, you get $1 million from your father and you turn it into, what, 10 billion? Could you actually manage to do that? I'm not so sure. So he's good at some things, right?
Yeah, and
maybe not the things that we
you know,
need,
and even without,
but he's good at
and
some things.
And without coming to the defense of Trump, he was the president already for 4 years. And you know what? The country didn't fall apart. All the people who claimed they were going to leave the country in protest if Trump got elected, they stayed. So, you know, obviously it was much ado about nothing. And even if he's elected again, democracy is not going to die. It's not going to be a dictatorship. It's not going to be martial law. Obviously, it's just the people who really vehemently are against him are, of course, you know, just like you could say, well, the trials against him right now in the United States could potentially be politically motivated because he's running for president. You know, I'm not a conspiracy.
January 6th, come on.
I'm not talking about that, but I'm saying like
I don't know how we got into this, and
anyway,
we'll stop there.
I'm from Sweden. What do I know? I know absolutely nothing. But the point is this: what I like about your constitutional system is the president has some power, yes, but mostly he doesn't have any power. Mostly it's up to a lot of other people to make the final decision.
He's not Vladimir
and I think
Putin.
that's a good
he's
system.
not Vladimir Putin, for example.
Yeah. All right. So stay in on Narcissist, and we'll get off of Trump because Ted obviously loves him.
No, I didn't say I love him. I'm looking at it as an objective way. So I don't like him or dislike him. I'm just saying he's there.
When we're looking at Narcissist, I was one of the things I was thinking of, and when I went through the book is serial abusers, and how they are narcissists. And how easy it is, and you kind of went through all the different ways that a high-quality narcissist is able to control the people around them, no matter who they are, no matter what color they are. And you made it sound so easy that it actually sounded kind of scary.
They have a blueprint for how they do this. I mean, they have a sort of let's call it they have a sort of operandi for this. They know. It's like I met a couple of psychopaths in my days. I mean, they are even better at manipulation. And if you didn't know, I can tell you something about the psychopaths and American presidents as well. If you are interested, just ask me and I will tell you. There has been some fascinating studies on this topic. But anyways, it's sort of, they have a manual how to behave, how to use gaslighting, how to use, triangulation, how to use, lies and fraudster behavior and so on. And they have this sort of a natural vibe for how to read people, not feeling empathy, but still understand how people are wired. I mean, a really good narcissist or psychopath or sociopath, which is sort of the same thing, really. Let's say you're on a date with a person in this personality disorder spectrum, let's say. Any of them. On a date, this person, he or she, there are female narcissists and psychopaths as well, even though they are mostly male for some reason. Why did nature do that? I don't know. Nobody knows.
Go, man.
Okay. I didn't see that. Oh, my God. I'm happy it's only audio. Yeah. But anyways, funny gesture from some of the gentlemen in the studio. I'm not going to reveal who that was. The laughter gives him away, of course.
Yeah, we can guess.
No, but the story is this. They will ask you questions. They will pay attention to you, and they will ask you everything and make you reveal your darkest secrets and tell them your flaws and your weaknesses. And they will turn them against you sooner or later, depending on how bad it is.
Yeah, I think,
and how much you could provide for them.
That's called love. I think that's called love bombing. Yeah.
You are not a coming partner. You are a provider. You are a service person. That is what you are to a narcissist or a psychopath. They don't love you. They might not even like you, but they like your wallet and your house and your fridge. That's what they need.
Well, giving them your.
But they have a sort of a sort of a what's the word? MO for it.
Yeah.
They have
They have a
it.
protocol. They
And
have
I've seen
a
it
protocol.
over and over
Correct.
and over.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't hear
Yeah,
that.
they have a protocol, like you said. There's it's like the scammers, like the pig butcher scammers. There's trained teams. Whether you want them catfish or scammers, who they have a playbook. Whether it's like I dialed your number by accident and now we're friends. Latch on only people. It's kind of the same thing with the dating scams. Not that they're these are professional criminals. They might not necessarily be narcissists or psychopaths, but they're professionals. But like I said, there's a handling protocol, and there's definitely a modus operandi. And like you said, when you tell the psychopath or the sociopath your darkest secrets, basically you're giving them a playbook on what they could use to manipulate you, not that minute, but to come back later and use those weaknesses against you for their own purposes, of course. So
exactly. When I read all the emails I'm receiving from 6 continents, and I'm receiving the longest emails that I get is from people who are surrounded by psychopaths. A lot from surrounded by narcissists, but mostly from the psychopath book, which I called the Black Book because it sounds kind of cool. But the thing is, it just so happens to be black. Also, the cover is black. But the thing is this: people tell me stories that are, well, they are horrible and they are so painful to read, and it's. Well, sometimes I just have to close my laptop and think for a while and go for a walk in the woods or something. But when they describe the predators, because these are predators, these are not confused people. Don't feel sorry for them. They are the predators. They should be wiped off the face of the earth. It sounds dramatic, but that is because it is dramatic. I am not playing around with this. When I read all the stories, and I have thousands of them, literally thousands, it's like they are describing the same person. He did this, and then he did that, and then all of a sudden, bam, bam, bam. It just comes, bam, 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 like this. It's the same damn MO over and over. It's like there indeed, Ted, is a playbook out there, a protocol.
Yeah.
But it's not. It's in their nature.
Yeah, they're just good
It
at
is in their nature.
They're good at it
like
intuitively.
The cats.
They're good at it intuitively,
You don't,
like you said. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, intuitively. Again, we can make jokes about cats, but they are narcissists. They are indeed, and we like them. I like cats as well. I'm super allergic. I don't have any cats. I have dogs. I am allergic to those too. But my wife happens to love dogs. Back to Alan there, and off we go.
I was going to say you didn't.
Thomas is going to
happen
send in a tip next week.
You didn't happen to send. You didn't pretend to be Alan 31 from Montreal, right?
Change cats with dogs. Yeah.
Here's the point. You don't have to tell a cat how to kill a mice. He or she knows it by birth. It's in the DNA. Same thing with people with these mental disorders. It's just the way they are wired. Who knows why nature or our Lord, whatever you believe in, created these creatures? I have no idea.
So one of the things I liked in this Surrounded by Narcissists book is you kind of dispel the fact that people who fall for narcissists or fall for their stories are dumb, because that was one of the things I thought was really cool. You're like, there's plenty of smart people. They know exactly what they're doing, but the narcissist is that good. They're that good at being able to find all your weaknesses and being able to take, no matter how smart you are, no matter how on top of things you are, that they're able to find that tiny little thing. So how do people beat? So say we're being victimized by a narcissist, whether it's a dating thing, whether it's a guy-girl thing, whether it's a work thing. How can you beat a narcissist at their game?
You don't. You just don't beat them.
How do you live with them? How do you?
It's a good point, and I appreciate you brought it up. Sorry, but the thing is this: it has nothing to do with intelligence. Everybody could be conned. You can also fool Donald Trump if you like, even though he knows how to play the game. You can fool. You could have fooled Einstein. There is a fantastic person called David Hare, Robert Hare. He's Canadian professor, psychologist, probably the best expert on psychopathy on the planet. He met prisoners back in the days, and he said, I knew they were psychopaths. I had diagnosed them myself, and still one of them fooled me. I gave him the keys to my Mercedes-Benz. I cannot explain it. He promised to bring it back. I cannot explain this. And he was the super above everybody else expert. He knew everything, and still they tricked him. How? Because they are experts at deceiving people and manipulating people, make everything sounds so fun. Oh, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. This time I'm gonna get it right. Yeah, he was very, very grateful for a new opportunity, and he felt bad, and yeah, I believe him this time. No, please don't. You cannot do that. And everybody can be this. The problem with intelligent people, they think too much, and then they find excuses for the narcissist and for the psychopath. Yeah, he probably meant it like this, because you go back into yourself. What would make me, make that claim, or what would make me to say that kind of stupid comment, or being so rude and mean or whatever? Yeah, maybe he was really stressed out. It could be this, could be that. So you sort of reason with yourself, and you find excuses.
Well, you
find
rationalize.
reasons for why they behaved the way they did.
Yeah, you rationalize. Just like this is
Exactly,
a bad example. Like
exactly.
during the Holocaust, then this is how the Nazis rationalized. Well, I didn't kill anybody. I'm just in
Here
transportation
we
with
go.
the train. I didn't kill anybody. I just dropped the chemicals. I didn't actually kill anybody. But that's how the Nazis were able to rationalize the mass murder of 6 million Jews, where they denied accountability. I'm just in transportation. I'm just guarding something. I'm not actually killing anybody. So
Just run the train. What do I know?
The human mind can rationalize anything it wants. Just like if you go
Absolutely.
in front of, that's why the law is
Absolutely.
interesting. You can interpret the law any way you want to skew it in your favor. None of this is rocket
Spot
science.
on.
Yeah.
Spot on. The human mind is absolutely brilliant at rationalizing things. And why it does that, it's a survival mechanism. I will tell myself anything not to get hurt, not to get killed, not to get, despised by the whole community, to sort of get kicked out of the village. That's 100% death 10,000 years ago. If you couldn't be a part of the village, you were dead. Yeah. You wouldn't survive out there in the jungle by yourself. So you need to be a part. So you need to find a reason to stay put. That's how we are wired. And we are wired exactly the same as we were, let's say, 70,000 years ago. Nothing has changed in the human brain when it comes to these things. These are basic instincts.
Society's changed. What's changed is we live in a society, and maybe I'm talking about the United States, where we reward bad behavior. So people, in a way, people who complain all the time, who throw a hissy fit in public, leave a 1-star Yelp review because their food was, not to their liking, they get rewarded for bad behavior. In Saudi Arabia, for example, if you raise your voice to an official there, you might go to jail for 2 years. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to change your DNA, but you're damn sure going to think twice about exhibiting bad behavior. Where here, unfortunately, bad behavior gets rewarded more often than not.
We enable
bad behavior. Yeah.
Yes. Exactly. It's like, behind the Iron Wall in Europe during the Cold War. Everybody was forced to think in a certain way. They didn't. They just pretended. I know so many people from, Eastern Germany, Poland, what is now to be called Russia, the Baltic states, Hungary, and they say the same thing when they are as old as I am. I'm 58. So they say, we just pretended. We couldn't change who we were. We couldn't change our inner core. We couldn't change our, most strongest and most important beliefs, but we had to pretend. What else could we do? It's about survival. So we had to find a way to just survive. So we did. What do you want from me? It's a really hard discussion for these people when they are saying someone is trying to control what I can say, someone is supposed to control what I can think and where I should live and everything. They feel really, really horrified because they lived in those societies. They say, you have no idea. If you let the government tell you what to do and what not to do, you are in deep trouble because we've been there. Doesn't matter where you are on the planet. We've been there. It's a disaster.
And it's still happening now.
But they will rationalize and do whatever it takes to survive, because that's how we are wired as Homo sapiens.
So one of the things, and that I wanted to touch on before we let you go, is collective narcissism, and that's where groups of people get together with that concept that kind of kind of fuels what they're thinking and fuels their behavior. Can you describe collective narcissism just a little bit? Because that concept blew my mind.
Well, you actually described it pretty well. You don't need many words to describe it. It's when a lot of people with narcissistic tendencies or maybe even behaviors get together and decide to, cancel culture, that's one of them. someone said something 10 years ago. Now we're going to hate him for it. Let's take his job. Let's take his family. Let's take his bank account. Let's take his career, everything. Let's just kill him, if you know what I mean. Not literally, but you know. And they go together and find a purpose in really, really hating someone and really, really bullying someone, because that's a narcissistic behavior. A normal person feeling okay with themselves don't act like this. They just don't. And when people go together, you can create sort of a hordes of people who has one purpose, usually led by the super narcissist. Let's get this right?
This sounds
super
like
narcissist.
The chief narcissist.
this sounds like the
the word
political
I'm looking
system
for.
in the
Yeah,
United States.
And he or she will lead them into this disgraceful behavior, and they will go. They will, double down on everything they don't like, and just kill every discussion, everything they don't like. I mean, and again, social media isn't helping. Bots and all of these things, and these echo chambers of certain beliefs. When you scroll, one of the guys at home, one of the boys, we have 4 kids here. The youngest one is 20. He showed me his TikTok feed, And when I stay 30 seconds, no, sorry, when I stay 12 seconds on this video, let's see what happens. And then another one on the same theme. And this creates more collective narcissism, because now I'm sure I'm right and everybody else is wrong. Who's on me on this one? Oh, you can find everybody. 10 stupid idiots and just gather a horde, and then you can just attack someone. And we see this on a daily basis. That is collective narcissism. And you cannot discuss with these people because they are so sure they are right and you are wrong. You cannot have a decent discussion with them. You will never have a conversation like the one that we are having. We can make jokes about Joe Biden or Donald Trump and say, none of them are super perfect, but we can get along. And you can say, well, I would vote for him, but not for him. And that might be fine. We can respect each other. But when it comes to the narcissistic, more tribal, let's say, gathering behavior or whatever you want to call it, all discussions, all democratic, let's say, functions are just gone.
We don't want to go back
they
to politics.
They are there to ruin you,
Yeah,
and they will try everything to do
There's
it.
an old expression.
You know what I'm talking about?
There's an old expression you're reminding me of. There's an old expression you're reminding me of. The expression is, "Good people are always so sure they're right." That's what it kind of reminded me of. So how do you combat, if you're the target of a group of collective narcissism? Is there a way to combat that or rebut that, in your opinion?
How do you work with them in your organization or whatever, or your family?
Because you don't want to go into the echo chamber, because if you buy their narrative and start defending it, then basically you basically accepted their narrative. That's what the echo chamber is. So basically a false narrative is presented, and then you defend yourself against the false narrative, which is the wrong answer, because the right answer is to not even accept the narrative as fact. In my opinion, right? Because that's what an echo chamber is. So once you agree to the echo chamber, the allegations of the echo chamber, you already failed, because now you're basically battling against something that's fictitious, and you'll never get out of that loop. Mm-hmm.
100% correct, 100%. But the point is, what I would like to urge, what I urge people to do when I get these questions, and I do a lot, it is, we are living in some sort of informational super era. And then now comes AI, and you can get answers even quicker than when you Google them. But it's based on what it finds out there. So long, AI is based on whatever it finds out there on the web. It's just searching the web and put things together. So it's based on what we think and what we say. You cannot trust what you read online. You need to make yourself. You need to check things out. Don't be so hasty in making judgment. Don't believe everything that you see. Talk to if possible, in the neighborhood. Don't fall for, Harry, he's a real idiot. You know what he said, and she said, and, blah, blah, blah. Well, maybe you should ask Harry, did this really happen? He might say, what? Who's that? I don't even know her. You need to be aware. Cut away don't be naive. Being naive is not a virtue. You need to pay attention. You need to be sort of a bit vigilant to what is happening around you. You cannot just walk around and thinking, oh, everybody is good. All people are good people. Well, they have the potential for being good, but they also have the potential for being not so good. We do too, but we keep ourselves in control, right? Because we are thinkers. All of us are thinkers, because I've listened to you guys for 30 minutes before I got on, and I know that you can think.
Partially.
Even though you call yourself idiots, you wouldn't do this if you couldn't reflect, and take in different opinions, and then you can make jokes about them, fine. But you can think, and you can process ideas, you can process facts and things. You can pay attention. A lot of people don't give themselves time to do that, and that is sad, because it creates problems in the society. It diversifies us, and it makes problems. It creates problems and conflicts, quite bad ones, that shouldn't have to be there. They don't have to be there if we actually just sat down and said, okay, give me your piece of the story, and then I give you mine, and then we'll combine our experiences. We compare, and we'll see if we can figure this out. Don't bring out the big gun immediately. It's stupid. It's silly. People shouldn't do that.
That's why I love the quote in one of your, I think it was in this the Narcissist book. There's 4 sides to a story. You guys are going to love this. Your side, their side, the truth, and what really happened. I love that. I don't remember where you got that
really
quote from,
match.
but that is absolutely that was the funniest thing I ever heard from that. Listen, Thomas, thank you so much for being on. We appreciate it. You've got a new book coming out, is that right? Or is it coming out in English? What's it?
A new book is coming out this fall, actually,
Yes.
which will be called, I think it's September, I think.
Mhm.
Are you ready for this? I like this title. Are you taking notes, Ted?
Yes, Ted is taking notes.
Yes.
I'm ready.
He is literally
Ted is taking
notes.
Yes. The new book coming out this fall is called Surrounded by Liars.
Nice.
Oh man! So you're writing about every person on the planet.
It's a thick book. Yeah, I know. Everybody's lying. Everybody's lying. Not for the same reason or all the time, but everybody's lying. White lies, that's the good ones, or to sort of smoothen the wheels of society. So we need them. But
oh man, that is awesome!
yeah,
All right.
the research has been fascinating. Let's call it.
So we'd love to have you on when that comes back out.
Absolutely.
So stay in touch. But I do have a book now. I know Teddy gave you an idea for a title, but this is something I thought would be fun. You gave a speech to 900 dentists, right? And you must have partied with them. I would love to know that story. The party with 900 dentists, that would be a great book to write. If you ever decide to write something and you want to call it, fiction, but it's got like a historical fiction aspect to it, that might be the way to go.
Well, who knows? Who knows? I know a lot about dental problems I wish I didn't know. And some of the guys showed me some really, really creepy photos on his phone, and I said, "Why didn't you show me this? I need something to eat, but I'm not hungry anymore. This is disgusting."
Gingivitis. That's a killer.
So
That
Thomas,
was sort
that's
of
not what
up
it was.
north, let's say.
So Thomas, you got the
Anyways,
keynote speaker,
yes.
and you got the books. Do you have anything online? Some of your ideas? You got anything else? Sell yourself. Do you have anything else that people can get access to your information?
Surroundedbyidiots.com. You will find everything you need over there.
Okay.
You find me on Instagram, Facebook, actually TikTok, and LinkedIn. If you Google if you just put in Surrounded by Idiots, you can hardly miss me. So
That's the God's honest truth. That's how I found him. All right, Thomas, thank you so much for being on. We appreciate it, and we will look for the new book, and hopefully we'll connect and talk a little bit about that next time.
Absolutely. Thanks for the invitation.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks for your
Thank
time.
you, sir.
All right, take
Appreciate
care.
it.
Have a rest of the day. Take
Bye-bye.
care. Thank you.
Take care.
Oh man.
That was informative.
Very informative. He's the real deal.
Yeah.
I mean, best-selling author.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well-renowned author, obviously. So here's my question to you, Steve.
Yeah.
If you had to give me and Matt the same task, how would you parse it to me versus him?
So with the red person,
Yeah.
you would actually make them feel like they're part of the idea, because that's a big deal.
All inclusivity.
Well,
Clever.
exactly, because they're the ones that want to do everything, want to have control. So you make them part of the process
Right.
and the decision. Not that I can lead them that way.
Yeah.
That's where the influence comes in. Now you're yellow.
Allegedly.
Or green. He said yellow.
Allegedly. Supposedly.
Yellow's pretty easy going to deal with. Actually,
Yeah.
probably the easiest in the organization.
Okay.
I would
For
think
sure.
so.
For sure.
The green people and the blue people, you have some different ideas,
Yeah.
but for the red person, you definitely have to make them part of the decision.
See, what I would do,
Damn it.
I would just say, Steve, I have this task. Just use your best judgment and do whatever's practicable. Matt, I'd say, how many master's degrees do you have? 2? Okay, I want a cup of coffee with 2 creams and 1 sugar, not 2 sugars and 1 cream. I'm going to write it down, put it on a Post-it note, and I'm going to hand it to you.
Stick it on my forehead. That's what you got to do. Stick it
And then
right
I'm
there.
gonna write-
I can't find it
and I'm
'cause it's
gonna-
on my forehead.
And I'm going to write it backwards, so when you look in the mirror, it'll show up forwards. Okay, there you go. Perfect.
You know what, dude? I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, I could literally talk to this guy for hours.
Oh, yeah.
And he's got like 8 or 9 books out there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
oh yeah. How to deal with bad bosses. I'm telling you, the one that was really scary, and I very touched on, is the psychopath one, because, dude, there was a lot of stuff in there. But like I said, the narcissist one was so overwhelming at how it's kind of cool how they can figure out what to control you with and how to control you, and they're flawless. A good narcissist is like a serial abuser. Think
King
about
of manipulation, right?
Think
I mean,
about you think about all those. Yeah, exactly. Think about all those people, all the movies you've ever seen where the woman dates the guy, and we can all see that he's a terrible person. We know how it's going to end, right?
Yeah.
She's going to throw him off a bridge, or he's going to throw her off a bridge, whatever.
Yeah.
But how perfect he is at knowing exactly what to say to completely control the situation at all times. And that's when I thought about all these political people, whatever side you're on, they're doing that to us. They are.
They're attempting to do that.
No.
They're attempting, yeah.
They are, Ted. They're beating us. They're beating us because
Well,
they're doing.
They're beating the collective us. They're not beating some individuals, but they are beating the collective us because we have to talk about ourselves collectively.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah.
I mean,
They
I'd
are-
like to think. Here's the thing that we didn't talk about with this gentleman. There has to be some people who are not narcissists and psychopaths. Like, okay, like as a normal person, I'd like to think if I ran into a narcissist, I'd like to think I'm, let's just say they're a predator. Well, maybe I'm a better predator than you.
No.
But except I'm just not a bad person.
No.
No.
He even said Donald Trump could be fooled by a narcissist.
Right, but he's a high. See, that's one of the things he talked about. All these the traits of a high end narcissist.
Yeah.
And this, when we talked about having Donald Trump on the show, so we could beat him, right? So we could.
And you said you could.
We can't. You
He'd
can't.
always- he'd always win. He'd
You
always win.
can't. Listen, there's some people that you can't absolutely 100% can't beat. They're so good, and he went through every color. He went through every way a narcissist can find this, how they can beat this person. Yeah. They need praise. These people don't need praise. They need this. They need that. They're that good. So you think that's the thing. That's the thing you talked about. Smart people can be beat because they think they're so smart they can't be beat.
No, but see, here's the counterpoint to that. See, we all have free will. And like I said, I think
But
you're using, the wrong term is beat. Like, number one, it's not a contest. The point I'm trying to make is that
if with a narcissist,
if you run
it is a contest.
into one, and if you're able to recognize one, you can actually control them because now you can use. Number one, here's the main thing about dealing with narcissists or psychopath. You want to engage them as superficially as possible. That's number one. So you don't want to have them get close to you. They're like toxic people. You don't want to just, if you can somehow recognize them and spot one, and you have to deal with them on a regular basis, you want to deal with them as superficially and at arm's length as possible. Now, if you recognize those traits, the manipulation won't work. Right? So you have to be vulnerable to those manipulations.
The arm's length is tough, and I want to ask more about psychopaths. But you guys notice he got a little sad when he talked about the 1,000 emails he
well,
gets.
I'm sure
And
people have been played dirt. Well,
and
people,
that's usually, it could be someone,
He got a
could
little
be in your
emotional.
family, could be someone you're really close to, and
they can
you
ruin
got emotional.
And they can ruin people's lives. They can you can go down that rabbit hole for years and years and never recover. And they think and you get gaslighted so much you think there's something wrong with you when in fact it's this Charles Manson type cultish personality, Jim Jones Guyana.
But that's the problem. We all think that we couldn't get beat by Jim Jones. We all think that we can't get beat by Charles Manson. We all think that I'm thinking of all the we wouldn't be
David
at Waco.
Koresh, Koresh,
we wouldn't be at any of those things. But the thing that he dispels in this book is that intelligent people can be beat. There's a way. Listen, sure. Teddy, I can guarantee you right now, there's a way to beat all three of us sitting in here. Yeah. And we think. Here's the beauty of it. Here's why we can be beat, because we think we can't be beat.
Well, I turn your attention to the book The Stand, Stephen King. So the guy who's the deaf mute, the devil couldn't read his mind because he was an imbecile. So therefore, there's my defense.
So
the devil couldn't read his mind. So,
but using absolute stupidity as a defense wouldn't work.
Well, it's like
because you'd have to be an absolute.
It would be a Columbo stupidity. So.
Actually, he was really smart. I think
That's why it's called. That's why it's called Columbo
I
stupidity.
actually think Columbo.
Columbo was brilliant. He was hysterical.
Yeah, I think he was on the spectrum,
I
right?
would love to be in a room with a psychopath. You know, I'd love to
All
see.
right, I gotta let my dog out, so we gotta finish this.
Yeah,
Who let the dog?
Steve, I'll let you have last thoughts.
Last thoughts. Great guest. Glad to be back. Sorry that you and Mark had this falling out with the golf thing, but I hope he's back. But no, thanks for having me on. I always like to be
So
part
you
of
think
it.
it was a golf thing?
Yeah, I really do.
I'm sorry to hear that Mark will never be coming back. And Mark's been Wally Pipped.
Mark's been here the whole time. He called me Mark the entire
Yeah, he called you Mark.
I loved it.
like
Yeah,
that.
he's been Wally Pipped. So Luke Gehrig just took his spot. No,
All right, so
It was a
are we
great
saying
episode.
goodbye to Mark now?
yeah,
All right.
no, just say please let your dog out. And it was a great episode. Thank you.
Yeah. I love it. Ted, I love how you pretended to ask like 7 questions that all turn out to be statements. It is like a dream come true every time you start. Can I ask one question? And then it doesn't end with a question mark.
Look, it was a big love fest as far as I was concerned. So I don't know what you're talking about.
No, I just kidding.
It was great.
Yeah, it was great, man. I'm telling you, man, these books are absolutely incredible. You got to check them out. Let's see. Mark is back next week. You know, if we want him to be, I'm sure he'll have a song. That'll be good. Yeah. Oh man, he's gonna be so mad when we see him on Friday.
If he shows up.
You know, we're gonna post this tonight. He's gonna listen tomorrow, and he is gonna MF us on the text like all day.
Should I send him like 20 different like parodies of songs? I'll just send him the lyrics. Should I do it?
Oh, dude,
That'd
he
be
would
great.
lose his shit. All right.
Are you gonna make a grown man jealous?
Listen, keep listening. Keep liking us. Hit us up on voteforted.com or thereal3idiots.com. Go to our, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok. Enjoy it.
Still on TikTok. Is TikTok still a thing in the USA?
TikTok. Oh yeah, it won't be in a little while.
Unless it gets sold to
if
a US
Nancy
parent
Pelosi does tic-tac-toe to TikTok,
Yeah.
which
Well, she
was the
also
worst
she
thing
has
I've
to
ever
trade
seen.
the stock in advance. So we'll find out what her moves
yeah,
are.
I'm
you know,
not
so
worried
yeah.
about that. All right, you know what? No guests next week. Actually, no guests for a little while. We're just gonna have some fun and hang out. We might have Jackie on. I know I owe her a trip on here, so we'll see what we can do, and we will see everybody next week.